What's up, everybody? Today we are going to learn how does a rocket work in space. Sounds like fun. Alright, in space, rockets zoom around with no air to push against. Rockets and engines in space behave according to Isaac Newton's third law of motion. Every action produces an equal and opposite reaction. When a rocket shoots fuel out one end, this propels the rocket forward. No air is required. Alright, so, it sounds convincing. So let's look at Isaac Newton's third law of motion. Alright, so here we're on NASA.gov looking at Newton's third law applied to aerodynamics. Alright, so Sir Isaac Newton first presented his three laws of motion in the Principia Mathematica Philosophiae Naturalis in 1686. His third law states that for every action or force in nature there's an equal and opposite reaction. In other words, if object A exerts a force on object B, then object B also, I'm sorry guys, I'm a little bit drunk, but I'm just having some fun. I'm rolling with it, alright? Then object B also exerts an equal and opposite force on object A. Notice that the forces are exerted on different objects, alright? So this last sentence, notice the forces exerted on different objects. Object A, object B, there has to be an object B for object A to exert its force upon, okay? So, well, let's look at what object B is, i.e. the vacuum of space. Alright? Alright, so now we're on Merriam-Webster, vacuum. A space absolutely devoid of matter. Alright, so, if space is absolutely devoid of matter, then how is something devoid of matter object B? You know what I mean? So now we're gonna look at what happens when you put a drone in a vacuum. So here, I'm gonna put volume on this though. Alright, cool. Now let's see what happens when you put a drone in. And actually this vacuum is B, a space partially exhausted as to the highest degree possible by artificial means, alright, such as air power. So this is not a real vacuum that space allegedly is a space absolutely devoid of matter, but this is an artificial vacuum that humans create, so it's as close to a vacuum as we can get. Now let's see what happens when this.
Okay, I'm just gonna let it hover there.
Sorry that's so loud, guys.
Negative 0.5 atmospheres.
0.5 atmosphere. Alright.
I'm gonna throttle up more and more and more.
0.5 atmospheres, more and more and more.
Look, it's full throttle. It can't even get off the ground now.
It's full throttle and it can't even get off the ground. It can't propel itself in an artificial vacuum.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so, alright. So, what is a rocket, alright? So, the word rocket can mean different things, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about the rockets that allegedly go to space. So, like most engines, rockets burn fuel. Alright, so it has an engine and it burns fuel. We all know about engines that use combustion to work, and so combustion is fire. Alright, what's fire? Alright, well, fire requires oxygen. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Literally, the three things that make fire is heat, fuel, oxygen. So we have the fuel in the rocket, and they burn the fuel, so they need oxygen. And yeah, they take oxygen with them on the spaceship, blah blah blah. But how's that fire existing in space, like in a real vacuum? All right. So I just want to go. All right. So how do fish swim? This is a little bit out there, but I don't care. I'm having fun. So fish swim by flexing their body's tail back and forth. Fish stretch or expand their muscles on one side of their body, relax them up. This motion moves them forward through the water. All right. So we're talking about Newton's third law of motion, okay? The water is object B. So in space, in what science describes as a vacuum, that object B doesn't exist. There is nothing, okay? So fish propel themselves through a medium, okay? We're going to talk about the medium. So if you look at ether, ancient and medieval science, also blah blah blah, is the material life that fills the region of the universe above the dome. Alright? So, the ether is the medium that everything travels through. Because without a medium, there can be no travel, according to Newton's third law of motion. Okay? The medium is the object B. Alright, I'm rambling. So, in physics, nature abhors a vacuum. Alright? So, blah blah blah, Aristotle basically saying that nature contains no vacuums because the denser surrounding material continuum would immediately fill the vacuum. And basically this is shown in basic science, is that um, nature abhors a vacuum. So literally, if you have a vacuum not being acted on by some force creating a vacuum, and then it would just try to fill the void with anything in the vacuum. So here we have I'll make this quick. So here we have. So I think that honestly, I think that what you're about to see, is what would happen if you put anything in a real vacuum as opposed to an artificial vacuum. But this is obviously has more structural integrity than this cheap aluminum can. So this is more likely as to what I believe would happen in a real vacuum. Alright? The nature abhors a vacuum. Anything in the vacuum makes it not a vacuum. Therefore, that has to spread everywhere to fill the vacuum. Alright? So now I'm just going to end it with Genesis 1:6 through 1:8. So I like to look at things in a biblical perspective and realize like how much truth there is in Christianity. So, and God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." So basically saying, I almost interpret this literally like the sky's blue because there's a firmament, and above that is more waters. So it's been real. Thanks for talking to me, everybody. And I'm thinking of a catchphrase, and like a outro catchphrase. Don't know what it is yet, but thank you.